you're able to see me also clearly, right, Mataji? It is fine.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandvat Pranam. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for joining. Dandvat Pranam, Prabhuji. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
So I'll share my screen. All right. You can see my screen, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So let's Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Ho Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jai Ho Radha Gopi Vallabh Radha Gopi Vallabh Radhe Jai Ho Radha Govardhan Dhari Radha Govardhan Dhari Radhe Jai Ho Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jai Ho Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radhe Jai Ho Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe Jai Ho Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe जय हो राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे। जय हो राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे। जय हो राधे जय हो राधे जय हो राधे जय हो श्री राधे। जय हो कृष्णा जय हो कृष्णा जय हो कृष्णा जय हो श्री कृष्ण। जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी नयन पथगामी भाव तुम्हें। जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी नयन पथगामी भाव तुम्हें। निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो गौर हरि। जय सच्चिनंदन जय सच्चिनंदन जय सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव। नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। नित्य गौर हरि बोल। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंद गोप कुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रहे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गौ ब्राह्मणहिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Thank you for joining the class. I hope I'm very clearly audible.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So we'll do the Shishtastakam prayer and then we'll get started. चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादवाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैर्वचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदां पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नापनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्। नाम्नामकारी बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिस् तत्रार्पिता नियमितस्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमिदृशमिह जानिनानुराग्रह त्रिनादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुनाम् अमाननीयमानदेन कीर्तनय सदा हरि। न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिरहेतुकी त्वयि। अयि नन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितं मां विश्वमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजस्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तया नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदरुद्धाय गिरा पुलकैर्निचितं वपुः कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति। युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषां प्राविशायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे आश्लिष्य वा पाद्रतां पिनष्टु मामदर्शनां मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। विशिष्टाष्टकम प्रेस की जय। चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय। ओके, so today we are discussing from Canto 6, chapter 16. Not chapter 16, sorry. Chapter 13 actually. King Indra afflicted by sinful reactions. So before we get into this chapter, basically we'll just briefly look at what we have seen till today in chapter 6, in Canto 6. So just let's start briefly from here. So this Canto 6 is actually about, it will describe the Poshana or the protection of the Lord. Okay, and the cantos till now, third, fourth, and fifth, Sukdev Goswami had already described creation, subsequent creation, and planetary systems. So he's now describing about the protection provided by the Lord. As we know, these 12 cantos are different, describe about different subject matters, right? So creation, subsequent creation, planetary systems. And now this will talk about the Poshanam. And it starts with the history of Ajamila, who was a pious Brahman, but then became sinful. And and this pastime actually talks about the power of the chanting of the holy name. How even without actually trying to call for Lord Narayana, since Ajamil named his son as Narayana, he used to call him again and again, and he was very fond of that child. And so because of his sinless chanting of the name of the Lord Narayana, though not calling for the Lord, but calling for his son, he was finally saved from from the Yamdutas, and Vishnudutas protected him. And so this chapter 1 talks about Ajamila, and also talks about uh, that only bhakti yoga can save, right? uh, then comes chapter 2, as we discussed, right? Ajamila was delivered by Vishnuduta. Then in chapter 3, now Yamdutas, they thought that Yamraj is the supreme controller, and as he gave the instruction to arrest Ajamil, they went and tried to arrest him, but they were checked by Vishnudutas. So they became confused that how come our master who had instructed us, is he not the controller, or is he not the supreme controller? And 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 Yamraj actually, Yamraj is actually, the Yamdutas is questioning the authority of Yamraj. But Yamraj, instead of becoming angry, he becomes happy, because for the first time he's hearing about Vishnu Dutas from the Yamdutas, and is getting a chance to glorify the Lord. So he actually becomes very happy, and then he talks about the Supreme Lord and his devotees, and instruct the Yamdutas that you should never go close to the devotees of the Lord, because the devotees of the Lord are personally protected by the Supreme Lord. So he strictly instructs his servants, Yamdutas, not to go near any of the devotees, and also describes the glories, and explains the Bhagavad Dharma to the Yamdutas. So this chapter actually describes the Bhagavad Dharma and the Sanatan Dharma, and Yamraj actually explains to Yamdutas that the devotees of the Lord are, I mean, the Lord is merciful, and hence the devotees of the Lord can understand this Sanatan Dharma and propagate this Sanatan Dharma. So he explains all this to the Yamdutas. Then comes this Hamsa Goya prayers. So in this, what we see is that the Prachetas, who are the sons of Prachin Bhari, they entered the sea to execute. So basically, this is now further details of creation, right? And then they went into the sea to execute austerities. And when they came out, they saw that the earth was fully filled with vegetation, and hence they tried to destroy all the trees. But Somraj, or the moon god, who is the god of all the trees, he, in order to pacify the Prachetas, gave a beautiful girl named Pramalocha Apsara, right? And from there, Daksha was born. From the Prachetas, Daksha is born. And then Daksha started doing the creation. And he created the demigods, demons, human beings, all that he did. But what happened is the son of Daksha, Narad Muni actually, I mean, Daksha here then offers prayers to the Supreme Lord, and he those prayers are called the Hamsa Goya prayers, and the Supreme Lord becomes happy with Daksha, and he actually understands, the Supreme Lord understands that Daksha wants to enjoy the material world, and hence he blesses him to do that. And here we see that the Lord offered him the daughter of Panchajana named Aksini. who was suitable for Maharaj Daksha to enjoy sex. So Daksha offered prayers to the Supreme Lord, and he appeared, and Lord fulfilled his desire. So these prayers which Daksha offered to the Supreme Lord are called the Hamsa Guhya prayers. Then comes up Narad Muni is cursed again. So Prajapati Daksha starts producing progeny, and Narad Muni takes away those sons and converts them into brahmacharis, and again another set of sons is converted. So Prajapati Daksha basically curses Narad Muni, and then the progeny of the daughters of Daksha is described. Then Daksha actually begets some daughters, and then he gives those daughters to different rishis. So all that is described here in chapter 6. Various daughters of Daksha and whom they married is described here. And then the story, then the pastime moves to Indra, and where Indra offends his spiritual master Brahaspati. So Brahaspati comes to the assembly of Indra, and Indra does not even stand up, and he purposefully actually offends his spiritual master, and Brahaspati becomes angry and leaves from the assembly. And then Indra realizes his mistake, and then basically he takes up Vishwarupa, who is the son. Vishwarupa is the son of Brahmana and the son of Twasta, as their priest. Okay, so they go to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma orders them to do this, because without a spiritual master they cannot perform yagnas and all that, right? So then Vishwarupa started performing yagnas for the demigods, and Vishwarupa also gives this Narayan Kavacha shield. This is a very important. This Narayan Kavacha, this chapter describes the complete prayers or the Narayan Kavacha prayers, and it can protect everybody, and it can protect us. This prayers, if we offer to the Lord, this can provide us protection even today. So and it talks about the various incarnations of the Lord and how they protect us. So there all the very, these prayers are very, very I would say very sweet, and we can invoke the power of the Supreme Lord to protect us, and we pray to the Supreme Lord and also pray to the weapons of the Supreme Lord, like Sudarshan, Gada, Shankha, right? Khada and bow. So Vishwarupa actually gives this praise to Indra, right? And then comes the appearance of Vitrasura. So how was Vitrasura born? Now Vishwarupa was performing austerities or performing yagnas for the demigods, but he used to also offer remnants of the yagna to the demons, and because he had affection for the demons, and that's why Indra became angry and he killed Vishwarupa. He killed Vishwarupa. Again, Vishwarupa was a Brahmana, and therefore he got sinful reactions. And then when Vishwarupa was killed, his father Twasta became angry and wanted to kill Indra. And so what Twasta did is he performed a yagna, and where he wanted to increase the enemies of Indra, right? He's chanted a mantra to increase Indra's enemy, but because he chanted the mantra wrong, the sacrifice produced an asura named Vitrasura. So that's how Vitrasura was born. And instead of increasing Indra's enemy, Vitrasura, because the mantra was chanted wrong, Vitrasura became enemy of Indra. And Vitrasura was very fierce and so again, his effulgence he diminished the power of the demigods, and he was very fearful. Again, the demigods went to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Lord Vishnu advised them to approach Dadichi. And Dadichi, being such a pious or such a selfless person, that he became ready to give up his body and give his bones such that Indra could kill Vritrasura, right? So then comes this is how Vritrasura was born, and that's and then that is how Indra and demigods know how to kill Vritrasura, right? Because Vritrasura was very, very powerful, very large, very fierce, and the demigods did not know how to kill Vritrasura. Then comes the battle between demigods and Vritrasura. So this battle is described here, and it started at the beginning of Satya Yuga, at the end of Satya Yuga and beginning of Treta Yuga. And the asuras actually fled, and only Vritrasura was left to fight with the demigods. And now Indra is actually fighting with Vritrasura, right? And so I mean, as we saw in the last chapter, Supreme Personality of Godhead instructed Indra that you make a weapon out of the bones of Dadichi. So with the help of Vishwakarma, the demigods prepared that thunderbolt, and that's where they started fighting with the demons. So the battle between demigods and Vritrasura begins, and then it is described. Then in that battle, actually, Vritrasura was, I mean, he was ready to, I mean, he started fighting, and then he even made sure that the thunderbolt was dropped from the hand of Indra and all that. And then he actually told Indra that please fight and kill me so that I can go to the Supreme Lord. And then the transcendental qualities of Vritrasura is described. How Vritrasura is actually a Brahmana, and not only a Brahmana but a Vaishnava, and he is the devotee of the Supreme Lord, and that's where he instructs Indra that please fight and kill me so that I can leave this material world. So you can read from here that all this is given in this chapter, right? Moving ahead, and then comes Vritrasura's glorious death. So Indra finally kills Vritrasura after Vritrasura actually explains him about the glories of the Supreme Lord and why he wants that Indra kill him. And thus Vritrasura, finally Indra kills Vritrasura. So the battle goes on for 1,000 years, and then finally Indra is able to kill Vritrasura, right? Then comes that this particular chapter, which we'll discuss now. So what we have seen till now is Indra has killed Vritrasura, who is a Vaishnava, and you can see that Indra got a curse when he killed Vishwarupa, right? And at that time he distributed the curse into 4, right? The trees, the woman, the water, right? And he distributed that sins, and he was relieved from the sinful reaction, right? But now again he has killed Vritrasura, who is looking like a demon, but is actually a Brahmana, and not only a Brahmana, but a great devotee of the Lord. So Indra is again actually afflicted by sinful reaction. And this chapter actually talks about those sinful reaction which Indra gets. And so we'll start reading it. We'll briefly first read the summary of this chapter. So I'll just read this. This chapter describes Indra's fear at having killed a Brahmana, Vritrasura, and it also describes how he fled and was saved by the grace of Lord Vishnu. When all demigods requested Indra to kill Vritrasura, he refused because Vritrasura was a Brahmana. The demigods, however, encouraged Indra not to fear killing him, because Indra was protected by the Narayana Kavacha, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Lord Narayana. Even by the glimpse of the chanting of Narayana's name, one becomes free from all sinful reactions of killing a woman, cow, or a Brahmana. The demigods advised Indra to perform an Ashwamedha sacrifice by which Narayana would be pleased, for the performer of such a sacrifice is not implicated in sinful reactions, even if he kills the entire universe. Following this instruction from the demigods, Indra fought Vritrasura. But when Vritrasura was killed, everyone was satisfied. But King Indra, who knew Vritrasura's position, this is the nature of a great personality. Even if a great personality acquires some opulence, he is always ashamed and regretful if he acquires it illegally. Indra could understand that he was certainly entangled by sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana. Indeed, he could see sinful reactions personified following him, and thus he fled here and there in fear, thinking of how to rid himself of his sins. He went to Manasa Sarovar, and there, under the protection of the goddess of fortune, he meditated for 1000 years. During this time, Nahusa reigned over the heavenly planets as the representative of Indra. Unfortunately, however, he was attracted by the beauty of Indra's wife, Sachi Devi, and because of his sinful desire, he had to accept the body of a serpent in next life. Indra later performed a great sacrifice with the help of exalted Brahmanas and saints. In this way, he was released from the sinful reactions of his killing of a Brahmana. So we'll get into the slokas and read about it. But this chapter it's a short chapter. It has around 23 slokas, and there are not many purports to this, but there are very, I mean, there is an important lesson and understanding which we get from this chapter, that offending a devotee of the Lord is very Vaishnava aprad is a very bad, and you get reactions for it, and it is, I mean, though the power of the name of the Lord can cure all sinful reactions, but of offending a Vaishnava is it is not easy to get rid of that, and only the devotee of the Lord can finally forgive and give, and we can get saved from the sinful reactions. Now, in this case, like there are, I mean, when Indra killed Vishwarupa, right? He killed it because he got angry, and that's why he killed it. Now, the second time he did the same thing, right? He's killing a Brahmana, and in this time he's not even angry, right? So we'll see why he gets much more sinful reactions this time rather than when he killed Vishwarupa, right? So the reactions which Indra gets when after killing Vritrasura are more severe. He has to actually leave his kingdom for a very long time, stay inside the Mansa Sarovar lake, and then he's atoned of his sin. So the reactions of killing Vitrasura are much more severe for Indra than after killing Vishwarupa. And again, though on the face of it, the demigods and everybody is satisfied because a demon was killed. But Indra knew that Vitrasura was only in a demon body, but he was not a demon, but he was a Brahmana and a Vaishnava. And that's why Indra, since he knew the position of Vitrasura, he is very regretful, and he knows that he will be punished for this. And his the greatness or the good quality of Indra is that he is ashamed and regretful, right? He's not that, okay, he was a demon and I've killed it. What's wrong in it? No, he understood his mistake and he atoned for his sins. And that's why he was after that protected by the Supreme Lord. Okay. So let's begin the discussion. We'll start with Shloka 1. So we'll do one first shloka and then we'll just read the translations and all. So Shri Shukha Uvacha Vritre Hate Trayo Loka Vina Sakrena Bhurida Sapala Hi Abhavan Sadhyo Vijvara Nirvitrendriya. So word to word meaning, Shri Shukha Uvacha, Shri Shukadev Goswami said, Vrite Hate, when Vritrasura was killed, Traya Lokaha, the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower, Vina, except Sakarena, Indra, who is also called Sakara, Bhurida, O Maharaj Parikshit, giver of great charity, Safala, with the rulers of the various planets. He indeed, Abhavan, became Sadhyaya immediately, which Varaha, without fear of that, Nirvrita, very much pleased, Indriya, whose senses. Translation, uh, Shri Sukadev Goswami said, O King Parikshit, who are so charitably disposed, when Vritrasura was killed, all the presiding deities and everyone else in the three planetary systems was immediately pleased and free from trouble. Everyone that is except Indra. So apart from Indra, everybody is pleased and happy, but Indra is morose. So Indra has won the war, but he's still morose, right? And Vritrasura, who lost the war, was very happy. So we can see the contrast here, that somebody who is losing is happy and somebody who has won is sad and morose. And we'll understand why he is morose and sad. But you see this word bhurida bhurida, right? So we had this seminar by his grace Gaurang Darshan Prabhuji, right? He was saying bhurida jana, right? That it comes in Gopi Geet, bhurida jana. So he was saying people who are compassionate, right? People who do Bhagavatam or read about Bhagavatam or give Bhagavatam to others are called bhurida jana, compassionate people. So you can see that same word is coming here, right? Bhurida. Now, Jana is not there. Bhurida means it is only referring to Parikshit Maharaj, because Parikshit Maharaj is also a very compassionate person, right? Why is he considered compassionate? Because he is listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. He is asking questions to Sukadev Goswami, and because of his questions, we are getting this knowledge of Bhagavatam, and that's why he is considered as very, very compassionate and Bhurida Jana, Bhurida, right? That's how this word is again repeated. I mean, I was just reading this and it struck me that Gaurang Darshan Prabhuji had discussed about this. Okay, let's move. So from here, we'll try to read the translations and the purports. So translation 2, Sloka 2. Thereafter, the demigods, the great saintly persons, the inhabitants of Pitraloka and Bhutaloka, the demons, the followers of the demigods, and also Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other demigods subordinate to Indra, all returned to their respective homes. While departing, however, no one spoke to Indra. Purport. In this connection, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura comments. I will just simply read the translation. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the other demigods returned to their respective abodes, but Indra did not, for he was disturbed at having killed Vritrasura, who was actually a Brahmana. After killing Vritrasura, Indra went to Mansa Sarovar lake to become free from sinful reactions. When he left the lake, he performed Ashwamedha Yajna and then returned to his own abode. So again, this comment which is given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So this is what is translated here, and so we can see that the war got over and everybody just started going back to their respective kingdoms, apart from Indra, because Indra knew that he had killed a great Vaishnava, he had offended a great Vaishnava. He is not just offended, he had killed, and hence he knew he cannot just simply return to his kingdom or go back to the throne of the heaven. So apart from that, everybody left and nobody actually spoke to Indra. Now that's a little strange, right? Why is it strange? Because the demigods actually implored Indra to fight and kill Vritrasura. Now that job is done and everybody is leaving without speaking to Indra, right? So you can see that I think they themselves also realize that a great mistake has happened by killing Vritrasura, and hence they simply left. They knew they have committed a mistake, and hence they are not even, they depart without speaking to Indra, right? Okay. Let's move to Shloka 3. Anybody would want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Shall I read
Hare
Prabhuji?
Krishna. Yes, please, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Maharaja Parikshit inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, O great sage, what was the reason for Indra's unhappiness? I wish to hear about this. When he killed Vritrasura, all the demigods were extremely happy. Why then was Indra himself unhappy?
Okay. Prabhuji, you want to read the purport? Yes.
Purport. This, of course, is a very intelligent question. When a demon is killed, certainly all the demigods are happy. In this case, however, when all the demigods were happy because of Vritrasura's having been killed, Indra was unhappy. Why? It may be suggested that Indra was unhappy because he knew that he had killed a great devotee and Brahmana. Vritrasura outwardly appears to be a demon, but inwardly he was a great devotee and therefore a great Brahmana. Here it is clearly indicated that a person who is not at all demonic, such as Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, may outwardly be a demon or be born in the family of demons. Therefore, in terms of real culture, one should not be considered a demigod or demon simply according to birth. In his dealing while fighting with Indra, Vritrasura proved himself a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Furthermore, as soon as he finished fighting with Indra and was apparently killed, Vritrasura was transferred to Vaikuntha Loka to become an associate of Sankarsana. Indra knew this and therefore he was morose and having killed such a demon who was actually a Vaishnava or Brahmana. A Vaishnava is already Brahmana, although a Brahmana may not be a Vaishnava, the Padam Purana says. Shall I read this, Prabhuji, or a translation?
Yes, read it, Prabhuji. If you can read it, otherwise I'll read.
Satkarma
nipuno vipro mantra tantra visharada avaishno gururna shayad vaishnavasva pacho guru. Can read the translation now.
Yeah. One may be a Brahmana in terms of his culture and family and may be expert in Vedic knowledge, mantra, tantra,
Visharada.
But if he is not a Vaishnava, he cannot be a guru. This means that an expert Brahmana may not be a Vaishnava, but a Vaishnava is already a Brahmana. A millionaire may very easily possess hundreds and thousands of dollars, but a person with hundreds and thousands of dollars is not necessarily a millionaire. Vritrasura was a perfect Vaishnava and therefore he was also a Brahmana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. So here now Parikshit Maharaj is actually questioning Sukadeva Goswami that why is Indra unhappy, right? And because he just killed a demon and killing demons is, but it's not, I mean, he was victorious and still he is morose and unhappy, and Vitrasura was killed and everybody else is happy, right? So the question is very natural, and Parikshit Maharaj is asking this question to Sukadeva Goswami. Now and then Sukadeva Goswami will answer that question in shlokas further, but this is a very, very important point which is made here, that a Vaishnava is already a Brahmana. And if you remember, Pavan Prabhuji gave a class, right? And he discussed this shloka very, very detail. That only a Vaishnava can become a guru, right? This is very, very important. Not everybody can become a guru. Only a Vaishnava, you must have only a Vaishnava guru, and Pavan Prabhuji actually explained it so very well. So a Brahmana may be, see, Satkarma Nipuno Vipro, right? A Brahmana might be very good, his karma might be very good, and he might even be very good at doing tantra and mantra, but he cannot become a guru. Only a Vaishnava can become a guru. And Prabhupada is using this shloka to explain that a Brahmana, a Vaishnava is always a Brahmana, but a Brahmana may not be a Vaishnava, right? Because uh, the Brahmana might be very good at doing all these things, that he's good at doing Tantra and Mantra. He is very much, he knows the Vedic literature very well, and he can explain it, but only a Vaishnava can become a guru. And that is what is explained in this. And this is a very, very important point here. And we can see that Vritrasura was not just a Brahmana, but he was a Vaishnava, right? And great devotee and Brahmana, but he was also a Vaishnava. And another point which is made here is that we say that, right? Don't judge a book by its cover, right? Similarly, Vritrasura, who was in a demon body, was not actually a demon, but a Brahmana and a Vaishnava. And it is another point which is made here is that we generally consider that by birth, if you are born in a Brahmana family, you are a Brahmana. But it does not work that way, right? And that's the point which is being made here, that even if you are born in a Brahmana family, you may not be a Brahmana, actually a Brahmana. And even if you are born in a demonic family, you can still be a Brahmana and a Vaishnava. And there are many examples of this. So it is about the qualities and not about the birth. You might be born in any caste or whatever. Now, people try to comment on this, that we have, I mean, if you are born in this family, you are this. No, it does not. The real, in Vedic literature, that is not how it works. There is no and these are real examples, right? Like Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, Vritrasura. They were born in the family of demons, but were actually Vaishnavas and Brahmanas, the topmost of the people, right? And a Brahmana may be born in a Brahmana family, but may be a Shudra. So it's not simply according to the birth, right? It's about the qualities and about what activities you do, right? So that's how it decides whether you are a Brahmana or a Vaishnava, and not by birth. So Vritrasura was a perfect Vaishnava, and therefore he was also a Brahmana, right? So let's move on, and now we will see why Indra is actually morose, right? Translation for Shloka 4. Sri Sukadev Goswami answered, when all the great sages and demigods were disturbed by the extraordinary power of Vritrasura, they had assembled to ask Indra to kill him. Indra, however, being afraid of killing a Brahmana, declined their request. So Indra knew beforehand that Vritrasura is not an ordinary demon. He's not a demon, but he's a Brahmana. And hence, he did not want to kill Vritrasura or fight with Vritrasura. So this is what Indra is telling to the demigods who had asked him to kill. So King Indra replied, when I killed Vishwarupa, I received extensive sinful reactions. But I was favored by the woman, land, trees, and water. And therefore I was able to divide the sin among them. But now if I kill Vritrasura, another Brahmana, how shall I free myself from the sinful reactions? So the demigods are asking Indra to kill Vritrasura, and Indra is reluctant or does not want to do it. So let's see what demigods say to Indra to force him to kill Vishwarupa. Sri Sukdev Goswami said, hearing this, the great sages replied to King Indra, O King of heaven, all good fortune unto you. Do not fear. We shall perform an Ashwamedha sacrifice to release you from any sin you may accrue by killing the Brahmana. So this is what the sages and the demigods tell Indra, that go ahead and kill Vritrasura. We'll make sure that you don't get any sin, right? And we'll perform an Ashwamedha sacrifice for you to relieve you from all this sinful reactions. Now, this again brings up an important point, that trying to do rituals for getting rid of any sins does not work. And especially sins like killing a Brahmana It just simply doesn't work. So this is a lesson which we must get. We can only postpone that reactions to those sins by doing some of these rituals, but we cannot eradicate those sinful reactions by just performing some sacrifices. Now, it is not an ordinary sacrifice. We cannot understand how big or how great is an Ashwamedha sacrifice, right? It's not a small chota sa yagna and we are done, right? No, this is a very, very big Ashwamedha sacrifice is a very big, elaborate sacrifice, and we cannot fathom it. It's just not possible for us in Kali Yuga to understand how difficult and how complicated and how elaborate this sacrifice is. So we cannot fathom this, and they are going to perform such a big sacrifice to relieve Indra from this sin, and still that does not work directly. Okay, we'll see in the further slokas. Moving ahead, 6.13.7. So the rishis continued, O King Indra, by performing an Ashwamedha sacrifice and thereby pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Super Soul Lord Narayana, the Supreme Controller, one can be relieved even of the sinful reactions for killing the entire world, not to speak of killing a demon like Vritrasura. So again, the rishis are imploring Indra, please kill Indra, please kill Vritrasura. We will take care. Don't worry. We'll perform this sacrifice and you will be relieved of the sinful reactions. Now they give him the allurement that by performing the sacrifice, you can even get relieved of killing the entire world. Don't worry. You are just killing a demon. So, and Indra actually agrees and then fights with Vritrasura. So they are explaining further so let's look at this. One who has killed a Brahmana, one who has killed a cow, or one who has killed his father, mother, or spiritual master can be immediately freed from all sinful reactions simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Narayana. Other sinful persons, such as dog eaters and chandalas, who are less than Shudras, can also be freed this way. But you are a devotee, and we shall help you by performing the great horse sacrifice. If you please Lord Narayana in this way, why should you be afraid? You will be freed even if you kill the entire universe, including the Brahmanas, not to speak of killing a disturbing demon like Vritrasura. So we'll read the purport here. The purport is pretty big and instructive. Anybody would want to read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, please go ahead, Prabhuji.
Yeah, perfect. By Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is said that it is said in the Bhagavad Vishnu Purana, Namo yadvarti sakriti papahi harne hare tavat kartum na saknoti patakam pratkina naraha. Also in Prema Vivartha by Jagannath Pandita, it is said, Eka Krishna mapa praptra yata papakashya bahu janmay se papi kariti naraya. Sorry. This means that by once chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from the reactions of more sins that he can ever imagine performing. The holy name is so spiritually potent that simply by chanting the holy name, one can be freed from the reactions to all the sinful activities. What then it is to be said of those who chant the holy name regularly or worship the deity regularly? For such purified devotees, freedom from the sinful reactions is certainly assured. This does not mean, however, that one should intentionally commit sinful acts and think himself free from the reactions because he is chanting the holy name. Such mentality is most abominable offense at the lotus feet of the holy name. Namno balat yasya hi papa buddhi The Lord's holy name certainly has the potency to neutralize all the sinful activities, but one repeatedly and intentionally commits sins while chanting the holy name, he is most condemned. These verses name the performers
please.
of various sinful deeds. In the Manu Samhita, the following names are given. A son begotten by the Brahmana and born from the womb of Shudra mother is called Parasava or Nisada, a hunter accustomed to stealing. A son begotten by the Nisada in the womb of Shudra woman is called Pukasa. A child begotten by the Kshatriya in the womb of the daughter of Shudra is called Ugra. A child begotten by the Shudra in the womb of daughter of Kshatriya is called Shatha. A child begotten by the Kshatriya in the womb of lower class woman is called Swada or dog eater. All such offsprings are considered extremely sinful, but the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so strong that all of them can be purified simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mantra. The Hare Krishna movement offers everyone a chance to be purified, regardless of birth or the family, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.18. 1 second, Prabhu, 1 second. Kirata Hunyandra Pulinda Pulakasa Abira Sumbaya Yavana Shandaya Yene Enyaksha Papa Yad Aprayashaya Sudyanti Tasmai Prabha Vishnave Namaha. Kiratas, Hunas, Andras, Pulindas, Pulkas, Abhiras, Subhas, Yavanas, members of Khasa races, and even others addicted in sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of devotees of the Lord, for He is the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectable obeisances unto Him. Even such sinful persons can certainly all be purified if they chant the holy names of the Lord under the direction of pure devotees. Herein, the sages encourage the king Indra to kill Vitrasura even at the risk of Brahmahatya, the killing of Brahmana, and they guaranteed to release him from the sinful reaction by performing the Asvamedha Yagna. Such purposefully devised atonement, what is this?
Atonement.
Atonement, however, cannot relieve the performer a sinful acts. This will be seen from the following verse. Correct.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So, see, we read the 10 offenses, right, to the holy name, and in that one of them is to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name, right? And Gaurang Darshan Prabhuji again was explaining, right? See, there are two kinds of offenses that he was explaining, right? I mean, two ways to look at it. One is that that you chant in order to relieve your sins. So that is also kind of chanting, trying to that is again committing the same offense. And the second is you have chanted and now you are committing sins, right? So we chant with the intention to destroy our sins, and also chant and then commit sins. So this is one and the same thing, right? And that is a offense to the holy name, right? It is an offense, one of the offenses, right? And that's what is mentioned here. Namno balad yasya hi papa buddhihi, right? That if you chant to destroy your sins, or you chant and then commit sins, it's one and the same thing, and that is an offense to the holy name of the Lord. And see that it is true that the holy name of the Lord, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, we can get freed from the reactions of the sin. But purposefully doing it, purposefully, knowing that knowingly doing this is not correct, right? See, we are all impure. Nobody is pure, right? But we are chanting, and that definitely purifies us. The name of the Lord is all powerful, and it will purify us, right? Namna Makari Bahuda, right? And the Lord has invested all his energy into the holy name. But then if we purposefully, intentionally commit sinful acts and think that it will be purified, that does not work. And that's why, though it is mentioned here, it is clear that if you commit the offense to the holy name, it is condemned and it is not the right thing. Now, there are some descriptions here about the various kinds of people, or the various, you can say, sinful people, right? Now, we should not read it that this is pointing to it's trying to point to low caste people. No, it's not like that. This is how, generally people who are whose mentality is to commit sins is what is mentioned here, and all these can also be purified by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. That's what Prabhupada is saying. And we should very much understand that, and it is clearly mentioned, right? Such purposefully devised atonement cannot relieve. So even that holy name cannot relieve us from such kind of sins, where we know we are going to commit the sins, and then we are chanting or chanting and then committing the sins, right? So that cannot be relieved by anything. And we will see how Indra gets trapped in this, right? He goes for killing Vritrasura, and then he has to face those sinful reactions. And we'll also see how he finally gets atonement also. So any questions here? Anything? No? So let's move. Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu. Sorry.
No, nothing.
Yeah, let's move ahead. So 10th translation. Sukdev Goswami said, encouraged by the words of the sages, Indra killed Vritrasura, and when he was killed, the sinful reaction for killing a Brahmana, Brahma Hatya, certainly took shelter of Indra. So now Indra has killed Vritrasura, and Vritrasura, because of killing Vritrasura, the sinful reaction is will afflict Indra. So let's quickly read the purport. It's a small purport. After killing Vritrasura, Indra could not surpass the Brahma Hatya, the sinful reaction for killing a Brahmana. Formerly, he had killed one Brahmana, Vishwarupa, out of circumstantial anger. But this time, following the advice of the sages, he killed another Brahmana purposefully. Therefore, the sinful reaction was greater than before. Indra could not be relieved from the sinful reaction simply by performing sacrifices for atonement. He had to undergo a severe series of sinful reactions, and when he was freed by such suffering, the Brahmanas allowed him to perform the horse sacrifice. The planned execution of sinful deeds on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord or undergoing prayashchitta, atonement, cannot give relief to anyone, even to Indra or Nahusa. Nahusa was officiating for Indra while Indra was absent from heaven, was going here and there to gain release from sinful reactions. So very, very important point. The planned execution of sinful deeds on the strength of chanting of the holy name of the Lord or undergoing prayashchitta, atonement, cannot give relief to anyone. So this is a very, very important point here, that if we are doing, we are planning, right? We are going to do this bad thing, and then we are doing it, and then assuming that chanting the holy name will relieve it, it does not work. So we will move ahead. 13.11. Following the advice of the demigods, Indra killed Vritrasura, and he suffered because of this sinful killing. Although the other demigods were happy, he could not derive happiness from the killing of Vritrasura. Indra's other good qualities, such as tolerance and opulence, could not help him in his grief. Okay, there is not much here. Again, Indra is very morose and he's not happy. Let's move ahead. 12 and 13. Translation. Indra saw personified. Now, what is the sinful reaction he's getting? Indra saw personified sinful reaction chasing him, appearing like a Chandala woman, a woman of the lowest class. She seemed very old, and all limbs of her body trembled. Because she was afflicted with tuberculosis, her body and garments were covered with blood. Breathing an unbearable fishy odor that polluted the entire street, she called to Indra, wait, wait. So we can see what kind of sinful reaction Indra is facing. So Indra is seeing a woman who is of the lowest class and old, and she's chasing Indra. Wherever Indra goes, he is being chased by that woman. And so this is what Indra is now suffering, the sinful reactions of his deed. O King Indra, O King. So Sukdev Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj, O King, Indra first fled to the sky, but there also he saw the woman of personified sin chasing him. This witch followed him wherever he went. At last, he very quickly went to the northeast and entered the Mansa Sarovar lake. Now, this Mansa Sarovar lake is still there. It is still there between India and China. So when it is saying Indra went to the northeast, this is what it is referred to. So the northeast it's the China and India. There the name is the lake is still there. It is still called Mansa Sarovar, but then there is another name also to it now. But the lake is still there. Let's move ahead. Always thinking of how he could be relieved from the sinful reaction for killing a Brahmana, King Indra, invisible to everyone, lived in the lake for 1,000 years in the subtle fibers of the stem of a lotus. The fire god used to bring him his share of all yajnas. But because the fire god was afraid to enter the water, Indra was practically starving. Now we can see the situation of Indra. He's living in, where is he living? In the stem of a lotus. And he is practically starving. For how many years? Thousands, for 1,000 years, right? Not a small time, 1,000 years. 16th. As long as King Indra lived in the water, wrapped in the stem of the lotus, Nahusa was equipped with the ability to rule the heavenly kingdom due to his knowledge, austerity, and mystic power. Nahusa was, however, blinded and maddened by power and opulence, made undesirable proposals to Indra's wife with a desire to enjoy her. Thus, Nahusa was cursed by a Brahmana and later became a snake. Now, this shows the power of Maya, right? You can see now Nahusa is not an ordinary soul, right? We cannot, he is not an ordinary person. He has knowledge. He has done a lot of austerities and he has mystic power. Yet he falls and makes undesirable proposal to Indra's wife. So the power of Maya is extremely strong. You can see it impacts even the demigod, right? We are very small in front of it, right? In front of demigods. So the power of Maya afflicts even the demigods. So that's why we see that we try to, we should not get influenced by Maya, and we must, right? We always say, don't bring butter and fire together, right? And we can see this, the cause why we want, why in satsang we have Prabhuji sitting one side, Mataji sitting other side, and no intermingling, normally, right? So you can see this power of the Maya, right? Let's move ahead. 17th. Indra's sins were diminished.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one quick question.
Hare
Who is this? Who is this Nahusa?
Nahusa is one of the demigods, Prabhuji. He is one of the demigods, and he is after Indra leaves, somebody has to rule the heavenly kingdom, right? So
Yeah.
so Nahusa takes over that duty because of his power and knowledge, mystic power, austerity, and knowledge. He is appointed as a king of the heaven till the time Indra returns. So Indra is not there, and somebody has to has to sit on the throne of the heaven, right? And perform those duties. So Nahusa is a person.
He appointed by demigods or Brahma, or who appointed him, Prabhuji?
Prabhuji, this is not mentioned in this, but I believe that due process was followed, and they appointed, the demigods themselves appointed Nahusa to take over that.
Okay, Prabhuji.
17th. Indra's sins were diminished by the influence of Rudra, the demigod of all directions. Because Indra was protected by the goddess of fortune, Lord Vishnu's wife, who resides in the lotus clusters of Mansa Sarovar lake, Indra's sins could not affect him. Indra was ultimately relieved of all reactions of his sinful deeds by strictly worshipping Lord Vishnu. Then he was called back to the heavenly planets by the Brahmanas and reinstated in his position. So Indra was finally relieved of his sin. So first he had to spend 1,000 years, right, performing tapasya. What did he do during that tapasya? He was strictly worshipping Lord Vishnu, right? Then only he was relieved of the sinful deeds. Now the question might come, right, that he had done a Vaishnava Aparadh. He had killed Vritrasura, right? And then he did not Vritrasura actually told Indra, kill me, right? Vritrasura told Indra that kill me and relieve me from this body so that I can go back home, right? And even though Vritrasura asked Indra to be killed, he had killed a Vaishnava, and that's why that is the also reason why he had to face the sins, right? In a way, Vritrasura had actually forgiven Indra, right? Already forgiven Indra, and that's why he could be atoned, right? We can see in other places, right? When Durvasa Muni offends the king, and he has to run everywhere. He goes even to Lord Vishnu, but Lord Vishnu cannot protect him, right? He has to finally beg forgiveness from the king. Then only he is relieved of that offense which he committed against the devotee. So here also we can see that in a way Vritrasura has actually forgiven Indra, and that's why only Indra can be relieved of his sin after spending thousands of years and strictly worshipping Vishnu. If Vritrasura had not forgiven or not asked Indra to kill, or he would have, then he could not even be relieved from his sinful deeds. So we can see that how the devotees of the Lord, if you commit offense to the devotees of the Lord himself will also not protect you. But in this case, we can see that Indra, though Indra was asked by Vritrasura to kill him, that's why he is able to get atonement for his sins. So this is an important thing. We should not think that, okay, the Lord will take care, and I can just simply, by performing austerities, if you offend a pure devotee of the Lord, then even the Lord will not forgive you. And only because Vritrasura in a way had already forgiven Indra and asked Indra to kill him, that Indra is actually relieved of the sins. Okay, let's move ahead. 18th translation. O king, when Lord Indra reached the heavenly planets, the saintly Brahmanas approached him and properly initiated him into a horse sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yajna, meant to please the Supreme Lord. So he's still doing the Ashwamedha Yajna after 1,000 years, right? He's still doing that. 19th and 20. The horse sacrifice performed by the saintly Brahmanas relieved Indra of the reactions of all his sins because he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead in that sacrifice. O King Indra, although he had committed a gravely sinful act, it was nullified at once by that sacrifice, just as fog is vanquished by the brilliant sunrise. So he did an atonement, and just this sacrifice is done after the atonement, and in that sacrifice the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped, and that's why he is relieved of all the sinful act, and not just because of performing Ashwamedha Yagya, right? Please understand that. 21. King Indra was favored by Marichi and other great sages. They performed the sacrifice just according to the rules and regulations, worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, the original person. Thus, Indra regained his exalted position and was again honored by everyone. Let's again move 22 and 23. Now, this is a falshruti of understanding and reading about this. In this very great narrative, there is glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana. There are statements about the exaltedness of devotional service. There are descriptions of devotees like Indra and Vritrasura, and there are statements about King Indra's release from sinful life and about his victory in fighting the demons. By understanding this incident, one is relieved of all sinful reactions. Therefore, the learned are always advised to read this narration. If one does so, one will become expert in the activities of the senses. His opulence will increase and his reputation will become widespread. One will also be relieved of all sinful reactions. He will conquer all his enemies and the duration of his life will increase. Because this narration is auspicious in all respects, great scholars regularly hear and repeat it on every festival day. So this is the falshruti of reading about this. Now, we might say as devotees of the Lord that these are all material benefits by that that if one's life is increased, sinful reactions are removed, opulence will increase, reputation will become widespread. In a way, yes, that is true. But then the point here is it's a glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and hence we must definitely read it and not worry. I mean, we get a benefit, that's all good, but then the important point is it is the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the exalted nature of devotional service. That's a very, very important thing, that it explains how great is the devotional service, how great is bhakti, and here ends this chapter, and here ends the pastime of Vritrasura and Indra, and the battle between Indra. And we can see that I mean, this in this Bhagavatam we can see that Indra, I think one of the most common or Indra is there everywhere, right? Almost in every pastime, the Supreme Lord uses Indra for giving some lesson, right? Or you can see even in 10th canto, Indra is there everywhere. I mean, in many cantos, Indra is involved in the pastime, and Indra is used to give lessons for us, right? Because again, we should understand that King Indra is a devotee of the Lord. He's not an ordinary soul. He is a devotee of the Lord, and hence he is used by the Supreme Lord to provide lessons for us in the Bhagavatam. And so here we'll stop. If there are questions, comments, we'll take that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, Indra is mentioned in many pastimes, like for example, Hiranyakashipu. We know that
Yes.
story, like when Prahlad's mother, what's her name? Forgot.
Yeah, Kayadu. Kayadu.
Kayadu. So Indra captured Kayadu and he was taking her, and then Narad Muni came and rescued her. No,
Hmm.
that happened in which yuga? Satya Yuga. Because Prahlad Maharaj is different yuga, and now this is different yuga. So many yugas are there, right? So does it mean that Indra is there for so many yugas? Same Indra is there for so many
No,
yugas?
no, it's a post, Prabhu, right? So it changes, right? Different people. That's my understanding, and that the somebody else becomes Indra, the king of heaven.
Correct.
Correct. So it's a
Mm.
post, not I would say a person's name.
Okay. So it may not be the same Indra, but just that Devata's leader is there.
Yes.
Okay.
And this
Yeah.
pastime also happens, right? It is mentioned that at the end of Satyuga and beginning of Treta Yuga, right? This, if you in the purport that is mentioned, or in the translation it is mentioned that this pastime is happening after the end of Satyuga and in the beginning of Treta Yuga.
Okay. Prabhuji, one more question. So while going through that purport, see in all the scriptures it is already mentioned that so when we take the holy name, all the sinful activities, all sinful reactions will be taken away. But
Hmm.
as a devotee, what should be our mood? Like having the knowledge of, okay, if I chant the holy name, all my sinful activities will be washed away. Having that confidence, to do the chanting with that confidence that, okay, my all sinful activities will be washed away by doing this, even though we are not committing any offenses intentionally. At least whatever unintentionally we are committing the with offenses, those things will be washed away. Is it good to have that mood?
See, Prabhuji, we should not be chanting for eradicating the sinful reactions. Our purpose of chanting is not to do that. It's you take it as a byproduct. We get it, well and good. We don't get that benefit, that is also fine. So the purpose of chanting is not to do that. Purpose of chanting is to please the Supreme Lord. And if we do the chanting with that purpose, this automatically will happen. So that's a byproduct, and not the purpose of chanting, right? So if your purpose is actually to just eradicate sinful reactions, and that's why we are chanting, that is wrong.
Okay.
And having that knowledge is not wrong. It's not that I am having that knowledge, that will happen. Having that confidence is all fine. But the purpose should not be that I'm doing my chanting because my sinful reactions will get eradicated. If that is the purpose of chanting, then it is an offense.
But
The
we have
purpose,
that guilt, right, Prabhuji? I mean, maybe I have committed unknowingly, maybe I have committed so
yes,
many
that will
sins like.
happen. That is guaranteed. That is given, right? But then I'm not chanting because this is the reason. We are chanting because we just want to please the Supreme Lord. And we are chanting because it will purify us. Right? That
Yes,
purpose
Prabhuji.
is very important. If the purpose, I mean, for a start also, if somebody starts chanting with this purpose, that my sinful reactions, that is still okay. But then after that, if we just continue like that, then it's wrong. That is an offense, right?
I mean, to think is also an offense, like the sinful activities will be eradicated. Is that an offense we are doing?
Prabhuji, desiring that this will happen is wrong. Thinking is, I mean, if I'm desiring that, okay, I am chanting and hence my sinful reaction must get eradicated. Now I am sinless. And that desire and having that is incorrect. Thinking is okay. I mean, your that result will come is okay. We'll know. But the purpose is very important in this case, right? The purpose, if you take the purpose as only doing for that purpose, I'm doing it, that will not help.
Okay.
We don't generally do it for that purpose, right?
Yes,
Our
yes,
purpose
yes.
of chanting is not to eradicate sinful reactions, and that's an offense. That's a clearly offense. It's mentioned, right?
Like Krishna Prabhu, I mean, so if somebody is feeling guilty of doing some mistake, and if he's doing chanting extra rounds or something, I think that should be okay, right?
That is okay. That is okay. See, we are for us. I mean, in a way, Prabhuji,
It is because I'm chanting, I'm entitled to do some sinful activity. That is
wrong. And also, I am chanting because I want to eradicate. That is also wrong.
I'm chanting because I feel guilty of it.
I feel guilty, and that's why I'm chanting.
Is okay.
I mean, Prabhuji, this is a little what I mean. What I am trying to say, what Gaurang Darshan Prabhuji had said, right? He had said two things clearly, right? He said that if you are chanting and thinking that I'm chanting because my sinful reactions must get eradicated, that is also an offense.
Yeah.
And the second is I have done sinful things and now I'm chanting.
Yeah.
That is also incorrect. So
thinking that chanting will nullify it is wrong, basically.
Is wrong, basically. It's not a good
chanting because I have done something wrong is okay. But thinking that it's going to get nullified because of it, that is wrong.
No, that is wrong. Yeah. That I will not get any sinful reactions and now I'm relieved of all that is wrong.
Is not accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Prabhuji, in our preaching, we also tell that when we chant, we are actually washing our, like heart and soul. So that
Correct.
means
That
we are
is correct.
cleaning our, we are doing the cleaning of our heart.
Correct. See, that doesn't mean that we are getting rid of our sinful reactions, right?
Mm.
It doesn't say that, okay, cleaning the heart means you are getting rid of the sinful reaction. The point is, you have already done the sins. The tendency to do sins will go away. That is what cleaning the heart means, right? The tendency to do sins will go away. Right?
Okay.
It doesn't mean those already done sins, sinful reaction will go away.
But
though the Supreme Lord will take care of it, but we are not doing it for that purpose. I think there is a very thin line here.
The chanting should help you in cleansing your heart, and then you start feeling guilt for your sinful activities. Basically, that's the problem of chanting. It does not mean the result of the sinful activities are washed off, basically.
Correct, Prabhuji. You're right. Absolutely right.
Starting point of cleansing, basically. Cleansing is the starting point of feeling the guilt. In both the cases, you get closer to the God.
Correct.
Well, that's what I feel. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji, that's correct.
Sorry, Prabhu. Sorry to jump in.
No, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. We are having a discussion. I mean, this is what is important, having a discussion, right?
Yeah. Shreegopal Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I don't know the relevance of my question, but in most of the pastimes, Prabhuji, we see these roles, right? Like Indra, Brahma, all these roles. I mean, why that personality is not mentioned? Only that role is mentioned. Is there any, role specific modes? Surely they are surely impacted by 3 modes of material nature. We know that, but whenever in the past times we only talk about the post, why we are not mentioning the names who are taking that particular post, so that we have a clarity, right? Why that those names are not specified? Only the roles are mentioned there.
Okay, so Prabhuji, I mean, again, I don't know a perfect answer, but what I understand is, see, it is not the point here is what the Lord wants to show is like even people at that exalted position or at that exalted role, they also make mistakes, right? That is what one thing which is shown by this. The second is, Prabhuji, if you look at it, right, even if let's say the name was given here, what difference would it made? Like, are we I mean, it's such a wide, I mean, it's not this Bhagavatam is not spanning a very short period of time, right? It's spanning over such a long period. Now, if we start putting in names and it will basically complicate, right? You will have to understand, oh, Indra in this yuga, in this time period was this person. So those details are removed because those details don't make any difference, right? I mean, the lesson, the core message, the core understanding, that those names don't add any value. If you want to find out somewhere, it will be there in Vedic literature. There is, of that I don't have a doubt. But but then it doesn't add any value here. And Bhagavatam is, I mean, it's a scripture where it talks about so many things, and more focus is given to the devotees and the Lord. Again, Indra is a devotee. I am not saying that Indra is not a devotee, but the point is the person is not mentioned because you need to then give lot of details, right? You have to talk about which yuga, which side. I mean, you have to give a whole bigger context of who was the Indra at that time.
Yeah, Prabhuji,
And-
but I really understand the point what you're trying to convey, Prabhuji. But in a same role, there are personalities who have performed good things, because most of the times, a lot of leave about the devotees who are in the devotional circles, but out of that, Indra is always is always a villainic character only people see. But in the same role, there are some Indras who have done wonderful activities. Yes, they are devotees, no doubt about that. But to set an example, with right now, Indra means it's kind of a enjoyable position. It's kind of a privileged position, and he's always playing a character of villain. That's the only thing what we generally outside people would be knowing. But there are also in the same role, there are Indras who have done some good pastimes also with the Lord and his devotees. Just to see in that perspective, Prabhu, I completely get that point. We need to only understand the essence of it, and remembering all the Indra, the souls who have occupied the position of Indra. It might be difficult, but it is just to glorify that position as well, that there are some good examples as well being in the Indra position, which were who closely were associated with the different pastimes of the Lord, to set a positive examples also. Because as of now, a lot of people only think about this. It is an enjoyable position, heavenly position, and he has been always a villainous character in the pastimes of Lord.
See the point, which I mean, we always see Indra as villainous is because he has a kingdom, right?
Yes.
He has a kingdom to protect. He's always trying to protect his position, and that's the route where Indra is doing all these activities, right? If you look at whatever pastimes we see Indra involved in, right? Generally, in those pastimes, Indra is envious of somebody, or Indra is trying to fight with somebody, is because he wants to protect his throne, right? And Indra is, again, he has been given that position. Who gave that position? The Supreme Lord gave that position to Indra, right? And what the point or the Vedic scriptures want to bring is, even position of Indra is temporary, right? It's not a permanent position, and it's temporary, and you can only enjoy to a certain limit. And it also, they also bring out that how insecure people become when they get some position. That point also is brought out by all these pastimes. So I mean, you are absolutely right, Prabhuji, when you say that that we only see Indra as a villainous, and then it's not true. It's not, definitely not true. But the point we maybe the scriptures want to bring out is, a person with position and power also gets affected by all that, and because he's attached to his throne, he behaves in a certain way, right? And that attachment is what is causing all these problems for Indra.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, I'm good. Point taken, Prabhuji. Yeah, I'm sorry, Prabhuji, but my intention here was to, I mean, I think we need to give some pastimes where Indra was a hero as well, probably. I was more
So
looking
he
into
is
that
a
angle.
hero. He is a hero. I mean, maybe Bhagavatam, there are so many scriptures, Prabhuji, we have not read, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know the glories of Indra also, right? That's the problem. But now again, we cannot. So the Bhagavatam mainly want to focus on the devotees of the Lord. And Indra is also a devotee, there is no doubt. And that's why he's mentioned at so many places, right? So many places across the Bhagavatam. Unless he is a devotee of the Lord, that cannot happen.
Yes.
Right? So Indra is being used basically by the Supreme Lord to demonstrate certain things. We should take it as that way, rather than thinking that Indra is a villain.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So, all right, Prabhuji, we'll stop here. It's already almost 9 o'clock. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful class. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandas.
धन्यवाद प्रणाम प्रभु
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Excellent
Pranam.
Hari
Thank you,
Bol, Hari
Prabhuji.
Bol. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaः. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Shreegopal Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Wonderful session. Very good.